What's up guys? Today I'm going to show you my top 5 favorite retro console mods. All the consoles you're going to see are from my personal collection. It's taken me a few years to collect all of these consoles. I did a ton of research and I've done all of these mods myself. Number 5 has got to be my front-loading NES. I never had an NES growing up as a kid, so it was awesome playing through a lot of the NES catalog on this console. My NES has Etim's NES RGB board and the de-jitter mod. Now, the good things about this console are the picture is really awesome through my OSSC. It's probably not as good as the NES HDMI mod, but I use it through my OSSC and it looks pretty good. The reason this is 5 and not higher is the installation process for the NES RGB board is a real pain in the butt. You have to desolder the NES PPU and resolder it together on the NES RGB board. I'm also getting some kind of a noise in my video output. You can see some pretty apparent streaking in most games. Otherwise, I think this is a pretty good mod for a really awesome system. Number 4 has got to be my N64. This N64 has Etim's N64 RGB board. The reason I like this mod so much is the de-blur function. The N64 had a blur that went on top of every game, and it kind of made it really smeary once you try to use it with an OSSC. So the N64 RGB board has a de-blur function that will remove that. This really blew my mind. It kind of shows the N64 in this really sharp effect. The downside to this mod is it's one of the more difficult mods to perform. The pins are really small and close together, at least on this console, so I had a really hard time with it. It's definitely really interesting to see the N64 with the de-blur turned on. Number 3 is Super Nintendo. Specifically, this is a Super Nintendo Junior with Voultar's RGB mod. Now, let's get real. This should be number 1, but you'll see in a second why number 2 and number 1 are what they are. This is the best way to play Super Nintendo on original hardware. The image is amazing. The mod is really simple and easy to do. You really can't mess it up. It's just a great experience. I love the system. I love how easy it is to do the mod. Number 3. Number 2. Number 2, the Gamecube. Holy cow, this thing is amazing. There are actually 2 mods on this system. The first thing is the GC Dual, which gives HDMI output. It also lets you use normal RGB cables through the digital port. The second thing, boom, the GC Loader, Gamecube ODE, put your games on a SD card. The GC Loader allowed me to use the Game Boy player again because I don't have the disc. Gamecube is just amazing. It looks amazing. It has such a huge, great catalog of games. Plus the Game Boy player on the bottom, you can play Game Boy Advanced and normal Game Boy games on a flat screen TV. It's just, this thing is crazy good. The only downside to the GC Dual is there are a lot of pins that you have to solder. That could be a little bit difficult, but it's really not that bad. And the GC Loader is plug and play, like there's no soldering involved. Now, yes, I know you're gonna say, you could have just bought a Wii and you could play all these things on a Wii, but you know what? This is my original launch GameCube. Do you really think I'm gonna put this sucker away for good to pick up a Wii every time I wanna play GameCube games? No, I'm gonna play GameCube games on a GameCube. Thank you very much. Number 1 for me is the NeoGeo MV1C. I actually don't have any mods in the MV1C. I'd like to get the Universe BIOS, but that's coming down the road. The mod that is really number 1 is actually a Supergun. Now, this is the Minigun version 2. This for me is really interesting. I was never really into arcade games as a kid. I never really went to arcades, never really played NeoGeo. I actually only got into NeoGeo relatively recently. I kind of don't even really love the library. The Supergun is such an interesting idea and concept. I'll give you a quick review. Basically, the Supergun lets you use an arcade board that has a JAMA interface. This slot in the front here fits into the slot in the Supergun, and then you can use the RGB cables that are the same with the NES RGB. The reason this is number one to me is it let me start learning about something that I had no idea about. I really wanted to get into the NeoGeo catalog to see what that was all about. This unlocked a whole generation of games that I had never played before. The other exciting thing is putting this thing together. I had to order a custom PCB and all of the parts. Highly recommend if you want to go down the rabbit hole. Please do your own research. Superguns can be kind of dangerous to your OSSC if you don't know what you're doing. So please either use a design that somebody else has out there, or like Bob from RetroRGB says, you have to analyze what's coming out of this thing before you put it in your OSSC. To me, the Supergun combined with the NeoGeo just opens a whole new world for me. That's it for my list of my favorite retro console mods. Let me know what you thought of this list in the comments, if there's something that I missed or something that you think that I should try next. Also, let me know if you want me to go in more detail about any of the consoles that you see behind me or the ones that I mentioned today. Leave a like, get subscribed, and I'll see you in the next video.